Hey guys, welcome to the Metal Voice. Today we have a special edition. We're going to bring some of our some really cool guests on today. We're going to be streaming live in California, and we're going to be at the press conference at the Hall of Heavy Metal History. So waiting for Mitch LaFontajomi. He might be my my commentator. He'll be joining me as a co-host today. And I remember when Randy Rhoads died, and I was at my cousin's house, and it was on the radio, and he died in a plane crash. Nobody kind of understood how he died, back then. Now we get it. We got the details, but no one really understood. And it was tragic because he wasn't, Lemmy's age. And not to say that Lemmy was, I want him to pass away, but Lemmy lived a life. He was 7 years old. But Randy, he's probably in his late 20s, or, mid 20s. And, here in neoclassical guitar, he changed the game, him and Eddie Van Halen at the time. Thoughts on Randy Rhoads and his induction?
Well, it's an obvious induction, quite frankly. I mean, without Randy, that whole guitar style of the 80s would have been completely different. I mean, who would have been your guitar hero? You would have had Eddie Van Halen, but then who else would everybody have modeled themselves after? Certainly wasn't Doug Fieger of the Knack, right? So no, Randy was a game changer. And anytime you mention Rock and Roll Hall of Fame of any kind or Heavy Metal Hall of Fame, he's one of the first names that should go in. The fact that he's not in every Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, from, the Classic Rock Hall of Fame and the Metal sometimes you go, what are these people thinking? I mean, that's name number one on the top of the list.
And of course, Randy Rhoads, right? Tribute. And Diary of a Madman, Blizzard of Oz, he will be inducted. His family will be there. So everybody knows this is Sean. He's the singer for Denner Sherman. He also sings with his band called Cage. Greetings, Sean.
Is there any unreleased Randy Rhoads footage that you got?
Not that
Video.
we're aware of.
No.
And according to Sharon, not that she has.
Okay.
So
Talks with Bob Daisley.
the answer to that is no, but I have to tell you that probably somewhere down the line, somebody's got something in their attic.
Yeah.
That they filmed.
Right.
And they died, so somebody else in their family probably has discovered it. And the same thing happened with classical composers. People found stuff that Mozart wrote 180 years after he wrote it. It was in somebody's attic. And I think
that's a call out to everybody out there to say, hey, if you have any Randy Rhoads footage.
And I got a question that's never been satisfactorily answered. Ozzy is the front man in one of the biggest, he started heavy metal as far as I'm concerned. He puts a brand new band together and nobody shoots any video of that initial European tour. Nobody shoots any video.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. So, here's the answer to your question. Not that I know of. Here's my personal opinion. It's got to be.
Yeah.
There's got to be. There's got to be. Yeah.
I'd like to see some footage of that Alaska show we were talking about, for crying out loud.
I don't ever recall him signaling out Alaska and talking about it. I can remember him talking about some of the European shows, but he was new to the band at that time, and I think everything was, overwhelming for him. He was just blown away.
Right.
He had gone from a band that was a big LA band that never got signed and never would get signed until it changed members. The original Quiet Riot, which he formed, that band couldn't get any further. They hit the ceiling.
Right.
All the record companies passed on them.
Right.
Some big record companies passed 3 times. They did 3 showcases for some of them. And they said, we don't want this band. But he gets in Ozzy's band, he's worldwide. That's a huge, huge adjustment to make. So he was very enthusiastic about some of those early shows that he did in Europe with the people that wrote those songs. Right? He did those with Bob and with Lee.
Right.
And then everything changed, and of course he got, with Rudy, and Tommy, and that was kind of like another phase, the touring phase.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think he would have continued on the path of heavy metal and like just gone in a lot of different heavy metal directions?
I get asked that a real lot, and there's no way that you can really say because,
Right.
Because who knows what he would have gone
Right.
into.
He really loved classical music.
Right. He loved classical
Let me
music.
see your hand.
His passion was going that direction, so
Good to be
no,
seen.
but my opinion is
I
that
don't
he
look like
would have
such
gone
an old fucking man tonight.
between classical and heavy metal.
Did he just love the sound of a distorted guitar coming through that amp? I mean, he must
awesome.
have just loved it.
He loved all kinds of music.
Huh?
He just loved all kinds of music.
Yeah.
Music was his passion.
Let me tell you
I would
something.
say that.
Randy could play anything.
Yes.
If he heard a polka, he'd learn how to play it.
Yes.
If he heard Hawaiian music, he'd learn how to play it.
Wow.
He didn't want any bounds. Like he didn't want, oh, I'm just a heavy metal.
No limitations.
Right. And he was an absolute virtuoso. I think somebody like him comes around about every 200 years.
Did he have any
It
other?
happened, let me finish.
Go ahead.
It happened to be that he was a metal guitar player.
Yeah.
But I come from a musical family. We were born into a musical family. People don't generally have that kind of talent. It's very, very extraordinary.
Yeah,
the way
absolutely.
that he played. And not only was he a great performer, he was a virtuoso and he was a great writer.
Right.
So
Did he write lyrics at all?
no, he didn't write them and he wouldn't sing.
He wouldn't
When he
sing.
was in Quiet Riot, the management said he had to have a mic in front of him, and he made him turn it off.
Tell us a couple of other anecdotes about him, his personal life. What kind of movies did he like? Did he play any sports? What were his kind of no sports?
Yeah,
He loved trains.
He absolutely loved trains.
And we got Crazy Train.
right, and
Collected on the road.
he had the smallest
Miniature.
gauge trains you could buy. He had to get them in Germany,
Wow.
and I don't know what they were called, but they're absolutely the tiniest trains. Like a train car would be like from
Size
here
of a walnut.
to here.
Yeah.
Yeah, size of a
And when
walnut.
he came home,
Minuscule.
to keep, his peace of mind and sanity, he would
Introduce
build
them, Sean,
sets.
his brother and sister.
Wow.
Let me just say one thing, and it's not just because he's my brother. He was the kindest, most humble person you'd ever want to meet. He
Really?
was really, really, really genuine.
I think that's the perception of most people about him.
Yeah, and it's accurate. It's accurate. He really was an exceptional
Did
person.
dogs, cats? Did he have animals? Did he have any pets or anything?
Well, he's
She can tell you about our dogs,
still lived at home.
which Randy used to dress up and then put cigarettes in their mouth.
Now, no one probably knows that.
Now they do.
Now they do.
He put the Walkman earphones and
Yeah,
cigarettes
the
and
dog
that,
had
and the
Walkman
dog would
earphones.
sit there,
And he put a cigarette in the dog's mouth.
and the dog would sit there.
That
Yeah,
is fantastic.
and a shirt and underpants.
Seriously.
Yeah,
That is fantastic.
Joker.
Was he?
yes. He had a really interesting sense of humor.
Real devious sense of humor.
Devious sense of humor.
Devious sense
I'll
of
share a real quick story with you.
Let's do it.
He was with his friend, and they went to Hollywood, and they passed a few people that didn't really particularly like the way that Randy looked. So they were, saying the usual stuff, you look gay, blah, 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 blah. And so the guy driving said, let's get out of here. So Randy goes, no, go around the block. The guy goes, really? And he goes, go around the block. So they go around the block, and the guys are more inflamed. They're really, really yelling right now. Come on, get out of the car. You beat the shit out of you. Come on. And Randy says, go around the block once again. The guy goes, really? Goes around the block once again. Randy had a fire extinguisher, and they all looked like sheep. He just soaked them in that fire extinguisher stuff. They're all sitting there like sheep with stuff dripping off their face.
Oh my goodness.
Are there any recordings of
Well,
Randy?
How come you're taking such a special interest with us? You're not talking to anybody else.
I already talked to all those. I talked to all those people before.
I gather you're a major Randy fan.
I am a Randy fan. I'm those two albums were
Groundbreaking.
groundbreaking, and there'll be someone orbiting a space station in another galaxy like 500 years from now playing those record albums in some sort of holographic rock band with Randy Rhoads playing. So,
Exponentially influencing.
yeah.
I like
It,
that.
it becomes
Yeah.
more and more influencing as you go. I've been listening to Randy Rhoads and the early, recordings since I can remember.
Well, some of the old Riot stuff, which I cover, I do,
Nice.
was pretty good too.
Absolutely.
At the time, I didn't think so. At the time, I thought, this band, they're just clowns. But then after listening to the music, I started to really get into it, and I really liked some of their old Quiet Riot stuff. And you know, there's some things that he wrote with Ozzy that were carryovers from Quiet Riot.
Absolutely.
No Bone Movies, You Looking at Me, Looking at You. Those were chord structures that he had when he was in Quiet Riot. He just didn't get to use them.
Fantastic. Well, you know, here's
Kelle Kathy
prayers
Rhoads.
to Randy up there. We appreciate your time.
And
And
wherever
those are,
he is, I'm sure he appreciates your interest.
yeah, and we
Very, very nice of you, after all these years,
Big deal.
to still hold him in such high esteem. And we as the family really do appreciate
Yeah,
it.
that's very true.
well, anyone around the world who's listening out there, you need to uncover that Randy Rhoads archive footage
Archive.
and let us all
Archive.
enjoy it for crying out loud.
Right,
There you go.
right.
All right, guys, I'm Sean
Thanks for your
Peck from the
interest,
Metal
Sean.
Voice.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
Sean.
Thanks for taking time for the Metal Voice.